Welcome to Fly.
Fly stands for First Love Yourself YouTube channel,
where we talk about building love from inside out.
We're your hosts. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Maggie. And today we are diving into a topic that can literally change the way you love. Healing before you love. We will be touching on 3 points. First, you cannot pour from an empty vessel. Number 2, healing helps you break cycles and not repeat them. And the third one, healing teaches you your self-worth. Before we go into the topic though, I want to tell you about our disclaimer. Wayne and I are not licensed therapists. Anything and everything discussed in this channel are solely inspirational and educational. So if you have any issues, any mental health issues, please consult your provider. With that being said, Wayne?
It's a very, very interesting topic because you hear it in your work area. You may hear it as you're traveling on public transportation, or you may hear it when you're just out in public about how people are having such bad experiences when it comes to relationships. Mm-hmm. And relationships are not the issue. It's the people in the relationships that's the issue. Yes. Because see, we tend to go into relationships unhealed. And all you're doing is when you walk into a relationship when you're not healed, you're not building a relationship, you're building a battlefield. Because what's happening is you're taking your issues into that next relationship.
Yes, I can relate to what you're saying. Issues can be anything. Those issues can be childhood trauma or rejection. Something your teacher said when you were very little. Maybe you had a situation where your friend betrayed you from on early on. Something when you were growing up with your parents. It could be something they said, something they did. So all those things can cause some kind of trauma. Maybe as you in growing up, you may have had a past relationships where you suffered from something, where someone did something to you and you cannot let go of. All those can be issues.
It's not the fact that a lot of people don't want to address their issues. I don't think that is the problem at all. What I think the problem is that some of the issues that we deal with are so painful, it's hard to go back and relive it. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So what we do is we tend to put a Band-Aid on it. And we go into the next relationship, our issues resurface and cripple us right now present. See, what I've learned in my life is you can't outrun what's inside of you. Mm-mm. You either going to deal with your issues or your issues going to deal with you. When you have a whole lot of unresolved issues, a relationship is a very terrible place to be in.
It is. Like I said, I can relate. I remember way back before I am who I am today, because I had to learn, sometimes not only people want to put a Band-Aid on their issues, but sometimes they don't even know that they have those issues. Let's say for instance, someone leaves this relationship. So I'll take myself, because we're talking about experiences. I in a relationship where my partner said something or did things that were not in agreement with me, and I was hurt. And then after it was all said and done, and I moved on. I thought I moved on, mm-hmm. But when I was in my next relationship, I found myself talking about things that happened in that previous relationship. And at the time, I did not know it was wrong. I didn't know what I was doing until I really start starting to love myself, searching how to be well. And now that's when I started dealing with those issues. That's when I realized I was doing something wrong. So that's why we're here today, to talk about it and bring it to your awareness. You could have something with your parent. Parents, as when you're growing up out of anger sometimes, or something you may have done, they do something not because they super mean. They want to help you, but they don't always know the right way to do it, because there's no perfect parent, right? So in my childhood, something happened to me with my mom. She didn't know, and I didn't know, but I held it for a long time. But I remember back a few years ago, let's say it was 2017 exactly, I got on a plane and I went and saw my mom, and I talked about that thing that I had always carried. And after I talk about it and forgive her, and it was tons of weight coming off my shoulder. And from that point on, I felt free, and I started doing things differently. I started expressing love way better, even towards my children. Sometimes, even if you don't let go of these things, it's not only with relationships, it could be with parenting. Whatever happened to you in your childhood, you can bring it and act out towards your children, because you didn't let go of them. So, which is the same for relationships. So one thing I see from experience, it is really great, it's amazing to let go of whatever it is that happened, so you can move on to enjoy your next step in your life, whether it's a relationship with your boyfriend or your future husband, with friends. All that's gonna be better when you let go of those wounds that you are carrying.
That's why self-love is so important.
Yes.
Because you can't honestly build a relationship with anybody if you don't have self-love for yourself.
Exactly.
And again, I go back to saying love is not an emotion. It's an action.
Yes.
That's why you have so many bad relationships that kids tend to have with their parents, because of the simple fact that they suffer trauma and it's passed on. And my thing is, you have to build that self-love, and you build that self-love in a way where, as though, even though people come into your life, no matter what they do, it doesn't shake your foundation. See, because one thing that I learned, a person who's at peace and a person who has that self-love, I mean that unconditional self-love for themselves, I stated before, they don't need you, they choose you.
Yes.
And we need to be very aware that self-love is very important, man.
Okay. The second point we gonna talk about healing. We're talking about healing before you love. Before you go in a relationship, heal your past wounds before you go to any relationships. So the second point is healing helps you break cycles. You don't repeat them. Have you ever seen people or heard or they leave this situation, a relationship or a situation, just to stepping into the next one? That's gonna be the same thing. Why do you think that happened?
It's just a different battlefield. And what happens is, you can't heal from something that you're not willing to confront.
Yes.
You can't just take your issues and put them on the back burner, and say, okay, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
Because again, what happens is, you can't lie to that person in the mirror.
No.
Because what's inside of you don't die. It only takes roots. It grows. It grows in the dark. Your issues eventually end up playing a major, major, major role in your life.
They do.
It's something that we have to address. You have to address it, because if not, it leads to alcoholism, it leads to drug addiction, it leads to prostitution, it leads to incarceration, it leads to all of these things.
They can certainly lead to all those things, yeah.
And it comes from lacking self-love. See, we look for other people to validate who we are. But if you get you together, your whole world will come together.
That is true.
See, your insides help you to deal with your outsides. Your outsides don't help you to deal with your insides. Meaning, outside, when I say outside, I'm talking about the things of the world.
The exterior
people.
Beauty, the flashing.
Exactly.
The you know, all the flashiness to show that you, all that, I mean they all good. Not to put anything like that down. Materials are great, but what we're saying is that all those things are great, but we need to fix within, inside, or
Happiness is something that you have to create. Nobody else can create happiness for you. Nobody else can create self-love to you. Only thing a person can do is add on to your love. They can't make you feel loved.
Exactly. Which is comes back to a point. You got to heal before anything else, before any relationships.
Absolutely.
Okay. The third point we want to touch on is how healing teaches you your self-worth, right?
Absolutely.
Kids, how is it now that you heal? Now that you're not attracting the same thing, you're not repeating the same patterns, your head is clearer. Your thoughts are clearer. You're able to think. You know what you want. Isn't it so?
That is true. That is true.
You choose better environment, better situation for yourself, better partner too, because now you know who you want, not just anybody who comes along and say hey, and then you already agree. No, you know your self-worth. You know now you heal. You can think. You know what you want for yourself. You love yourself. So it really teaches you how to choose in all areas of your life.
A person that's unhealed is very difficult. They become very difficult to communicate with.
Yeah.
They become very irrational and they become very closed-minded. But the truth of the matter is, your mind is like it's like a parachute. If you open it, it can save your life. If you close it, it can kill you.
Yeah.
And when you're at war with yourself, because you're dealing with so many issues going on, you're closed-minded to a whole lot of things that could really help you in life.
Yeah, and the reason I think they closed-minded is because it's what's inside that was never dealt with. Everything, they refer everything to that. They can overreact. I can overreact. You can mean the world, and you may make a comment that means totally nothing of what I'm thinking, but because I had something that I had to deal with and I didn't deal with it, and I come wrong at you. So that's one of the reasons they can be closed-minded. And again, we come back to say that you got to let that go. You got to heal, which brings on a very important subject that we will discuss next.
The healing for me, when I got honest with myself.
Yes, confront yourself.
That's when healing came for me. I had to stop blaming other people. I had to really take a look at the roles that I played in certain situations, and I had to really boil down to learning how to love myself all over again. Because a person who loved their self wouldn't put their self in the situations that I was putting myself in. Risking my freedom every day. Risking my life every day. Doing things, that affects your health. We think that we know how to love ourselves, but that's not loving yourself. Going out, I don't knock nobody for what they do, but you going out and you consuming alcohol, whatever else it is that you're taking into your body, right? At the time, you're having a good time, but all you're trying to do is really escape and suppress a feeling that you can't deal with.
Yep. That is very important, because yes, I think one of the issues as to why we put a rug over the real situation, we bended the real situation, because we have so many things to mask them. Yes, today people go find outlets, many outlets, they consume alcohol, they can puff something, smoke something, but yes, you can do it for pleasure, but if there's are some issues, you got to confront yourself. You got to look and say, hey, I love myself. I'm not carrying this. I got to find a way to get rid of it. And this way I can move on and have a better life.
Real growth comes with accountability.
Yeah.
Being accountable for your life. What we have to understand is nobody's responsible to give you happiness. Nobody's responsible to give you self-love. That's your job.
Yes. That is our job. That's why we're here talking about it. So everyone can be aware and to find a way of loving yourself more. And this way you can have better relationships with everybody, whether with friends, with your partner, with your children, and etc.
This is a platform where we're open to give you an opportunity to just be who you are, just be yourself. I'm not perfect.
And I'm certainly not perfect either.
Perfection is for God, it's not for man. So I'm not perfect by a long shot, but I'm here to maybe take my experiences that can help to shape somebody else's life.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for listening. I want to conclude with saying healing is not a destination. It is a process. And then it is the best gift you can give to yourself and your relationships. So before you go out there, search for love, loving somebody else, remember to first love yourself.
Hit that like and subscribe button and tune in to us every week where we're going to help to build each other up.
And remember to also comment and share. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, we'll see you soon.